Hello, today we'll be making a tier list about different electrical switching methods. Starting with probably the simplest design, just lay wires over each other like this, and you have a switch. Well, oh. The problem with this is that you do not get a good connection there simply by laying wires on top of each other. You probably want to weight it down a bit, but even then, shaking the table too much, yeah, it could cause it to flicker or cause problems. Um, so it's and it went out. Yeah, as you can see, it's not a very reliable method of switching. And also, if you're drawing very high currents, the poor connection means it will create high resistance. And it can create a hot spot, which could be a fire hazard. Also, if the voltage is high enough, it might kill you if you accidentally touch it. So, not a very good switch method. So, D tier. Would put it in F tier if I had an F tier on this. Okay. Next, we will be talking about this switch. This one is a solid A tier. It's pretty good. The only real problem with it is that if you accidentally I don't know how you would accidentally do this, but if you move the switch very slowly like this, you risk creating arcing inside of it, which could damage the switch. So, pretty good switch otherwise. Just move it fast like that. These can carry a lot of current, and also if you have proper insulation, like this one can handle. Don't know the exact voltage rating on this, but you can handle pretty high voltages. Yeah, you can handle pretty high voltages and also a fair amount of current. So that's a good A tier there. Next, we have a relay like this. This is an electromagnetic one. Basically, it works by you put voltage across these two pins here, and then you put your input line in here, and then it's normally on one of these, but it switches it to the other. You can use it to either divert power or as an on and off switch. So these are pretty good. Usually, if you use this, if you have a photocell or something that would that you can't put much current through, you could run it through this to just power this, and then the relay actually switches the current, so it can handle 12 volt. So it's 12 volts for the contacts. You can put 5 amps through it at 250 volts AC. No, that one says 2.5 amps. Anyway, they can handle fairly high current. So you can get even bigger ones called contactors. Those are really big, have very high current flows. Alright, next we'll be talking about a 555 timer switch. So you can get three types. This is a bistable one. There's also a monostable one, which you just press a button and it produces provide an input power, and it connects the circuit and creates a very brief, well, not necessarily brief, but it creates a pulse that you can, by choosing the resistor and capacitor sizes, you can select the exact size of. There's also astable, which is a 555 timer that would be used for creating a flasher thing. Like if you needed to quickly flash a light on and off, you can do that. So those are pretty good uses, but for a simple on and off switch, it's great if you have a very brief pulse or something that you want to hold its state from a sensor or something. But if you're just using buttons like this is how it works. But you just want to get a locking button instead of having all of this. The main problem with these is that they have a lot of components which potentially could fail. They also have a very narrow range of applications. Well, I mean, you can use them in a lot of applications, but what I mean is that by that is the voltage rating for this is only between 5 and 15 volts. And the current rating is only 200 milliamps, or 0.2 amps. So they have a much more limited amount. You can't draw really high amounts of current through it, or very high voltages. You probably want to use it to drive a relay. So for a simple on and off switching like this, B tier. Next, push button. I mean, not much more to that. Just very brief connection. A tier. Transistor. Also A tier. We're running out of space here. Basically, it varies depending on whether it's an NPN or a PNP, but Basically, you put power in on one of these, and then take it out, and then the power comes out on the other, and then you can apply a control line for the one in the middle, control voltage, which actually switches it on. So you can use this at different voltages and different currents. Or you can use this for higher currents or like a sensor or something. These are more designed for like small things on like circuit boards and stuff. I guess this is more of a circuit board relay too, but you get it. And next we have a pole chain switch like this. Pretty good. Like it switches it like in a way that you can't like hold it in half between two states, like this other switch. So it's not going to create arcing or anything. The main problem with these is that you have all of this, which can easily get caught or like snagged and get ripped off. So I'm going to select B tier for this because I mean there's a better way of switching it. Next we have a quick connect like this. This is probably going to create arcing if you use it to connect or disconnect high current loads. So it's not really designed for that. I wouldn't recommend using it for things like that. It's mainly designed for like disconnecting sound for like maintenance and stuff, not as a regular one. Pull it apart like this and then it just snaps back together. So that's a C tier. Also in C tier we have just a regular plug. Now, that fell off the table. This technically can be used as a switch by like just plugging something in and then unplugging it. The problem is, when you're doing that, it's very easy to accidentally like have your finger slip and then shock yourself. And also, if you're pulling a very high amount of current, like for a really big load, like this giant floodlight here, I'll make a video about that in the future, then what can happen is it can create arcing, which can damage the outlet. So, can be used as a switch, but not really a good way of doing it. C tier. Now, this is the last one we're going to be talking about today. This is a rotary switch. Very good because you can easily turn it. And then it quickly snaps the contacts together. You can't hold it in two states. Kind of like it works similarly to the pole chain switch, but is more compact, so it's not going to get snagged or ripped off by anything. So that's an S tier. So that's our last one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.